from the bus architecture. So yes, we already talked about that the bus lines. So we have said that on the motherboard there are going to be there are going to be sort of bus lines, that the bus lines are there known as the info path. Basically, the roads we are having where vehicle are actually going from one place to the another. Here on the motherboard we are having that the bus lines where that the signals are going to be passed from one component to another through these bus lines. So we have already learned about that what is it. So here we are having the different types of buses. Yes, we have said about the processor bus, memory bus, IO bus. So these are the not only buses actually available into that the computer system, but these are the main buses. Yeah, we have already discussed this part of that the computer system, that we have learned it out that these are the places that from the CPU to memory and memory to CPU, and that the CPU to graphics card and graphics card to CPU. So this is the part is actually going to be the most traffic area, as because CPU is going to be fetch the data from the memory. So it's because this is going to be the most highly traffic area. We will understand, we are going to be tell that these are the bus lines we are having. These bus lines are more important than the lower side, the bus architecture, that these are the three main bus we are talking about, actually making the connections with the Node bridge. And here we are having that the memory bus for communicating with the memory, and we are having here that the PCI Express bus, that is actually for making the communication between graphics card, that I mean special graphics card, external graphics card. So similarly here, this is the architecture a bit different. Similarly here you can see that the Intel Core processor is going to be communicate with that the express chipset. So this is that the bus lines we are having here, and for connecting with the memory, or for connecting with the high definition graphics, the different PCI slots. So are actually going to be much more advanced than what we are seeing here. Okay, so this is what actually we are trying to tell here, that we are having this important and through these buses actually the data or signals are going to be from a component. You can see the data control signals to and from, data control signals and from, data control signals to and from. And for memory bus, this is the travel through the memory bus, and the IO bus, that is actually input output devices travel through this bus. So this is what the IO bus is talking about. That is actually the lower side LPC that we are talking about. This is actually that the lower pin count bus, and we are having some PCI bus here for PCI slots, as well as for on build that I mean graphics controller. And also there are several things are there like that the keyboard, mouse, and the serial port, parallel port. Floppy disk is not available these days. So here actually you can see that there are different type of buses to making the communications between the different type of lower level devices. So this is what I mean. It is trying to tell that the buses are important. So we have already component, and if we are having that the more powerful CPU, that means we are going to be get that the more faster computer system. But in reality, actually, it is not only about that the CPU, because if you are making the development of the CPU, beside that all of the components you're having, they are also, I mean, need to be make some advancement like that, with that the graphical side, with that the memory side. So day by day that the memories are increasing, so that as much as memory space you are having, on that you can actually going to be stored that the many more informations, and of course that the access between that the processor and memory is need to be improved. So here that the RAM you are using, so RAM size is increasing, and Intel the powerful we talk about that the processor how it is getting powerful, that the speed actually you're talking about. So that we are increasing that the cores, we are increasing the speed of that the processor. So why that the things we are doing? What is going to be that the reason behind it? Because you are getting that the more high-speed devices like the RAM, you are getting the more size RAM. That means it is going to be able to handle the more programs. The graphics card, you need that the high definition graphics cards because you want to get that the better graphical resolutions or graphical performance from your PC. You're having that more interactive that the PCI slots, that is also getting much more important, provided that the cards are going to be getting the improvement. So you can understand that actually with that the improvements of all of the components they are communicating in the CPU. So CPU is simply getting some more it's simply that if I'm asking to you that right, what is going to be answer? If I'm asking to how are you, that what is going to be answer?
I'm fine,
I'm
sir.
fine. So you know that I mean the questions. You know that I mean if this is going to be asked to you, then you're going to be tell that the answer is going to be automatically come from your system. That yes, I'm doing fine, or maybe I'm not doing so well. Maybe I'm sick. So this type of answers will come because you know that these are the questions I'm asking to you. But if I'm asking to you, if I'm telling you that okay, Anyang Kamsahamnida, what is do you have the answer for that?
No,
No,
sir.
you do not know because you do not know this language. You do not have that the input into your system that I mean, so that actually after hearing it, you are going to be give the response. So this is the Korean language that I mean annyeonghaseyo. That means hello, assalamu alaikum, something like that. If you're telling kamsahamnida, that means thank you so much, thank you. So that is what that I mean the language. Now you know it. If I am telling that okay kamsahamnida, so you are going to be tell kamsahamnida. So you are going to be appreciate. Now you know this. So that is what exactly you know. You are going to be able to respond that. But if you do not know, then you will not be able to answer that. So that is also the processor is for that the instruction it has. If you're giving him a command, if he understand, he'll be able to work on your command. But if you're trying to give you some commands that he does not understand, he'll not be able to solve that the problem. So this is what actually we call that the CPU is very powerful, as because actually CPU has that the instructions, has that the complex formulas with him. Whatever that the problem we are giving to him, actually he's calculating it. So that is that the more better graphic cards you are using means that you need some more complex communications. You need some more complex calculation. That is why with that the graphics card also that there is a processing unit coming these days. So that the things actually you need more instructions to actually deal with the better components with you. So that means when you have more instructions with that the informations that you can the graphical cards with that the other components that you are having that the advanced information, that means you have much more instructions are there, much more informations are there than that the before we had. So that means CPU need that the instructions to use this of the advanced components, and therefore that the bus white is need to be also there. You know that if I am having that the single land road, then actually only few vehicles will be able to move. But if I am having multiple lanes like 1, 2, 3, 4, that means the road is going to be wide, big wide road, the 4 lanes if it is. That means more cars are going to be moved together. There is not going to be the traffic jam. So there is also same that I mean in that the computer that the bus lines we are having, we should have to give that the enough wide, enough speed. So that is actually exactly it is trying to tell here to that the bus architecture. So you can see here the bus refers to pathways that how our data control signals are used to travel from one component to the another component in the computer system. So these are the fact actually this is going to be considered as the control the signals that you're having that the different signals like electrical power, control signals, memory addresses, data, the informations, the signals are going to be traveled from one component to the another component of computer system. So that is why that is why I mean the bus line is going to be very important. That is coming into that the next discussions. The today's species for 4 or 5 buses, so can have more, each with the different speeds, access methods, and protocols. So that is what the discussions I was making. That actually these are the 3 things that the characteristics. So this need to be improved. The bus lines should need to be improved so that the many more instructions that the graphics card is having, the CPU is having, that the memory is having, that the other components are having. So you need the better bus lines so that the signals are passing very frequently from one place to another place. So that is what it is really important that the bus line must need to be improved with the speed, with the width, with the protocols, with the access time, right? So this is what actually very much important. So here we are having this the image of circuits that make up a bus can be on the motherboard. These embedded wires carry 4 kinds of cargo. So these are the 4 sets that the electrical power, control signals, memory address, and data are known as the cargo. Okay. So here there is another fact that is talking about the system crystal and known as the system bus plate. So it's nothing but you can consider it the system bus plate. Determine the speed at which a CPU and the rest of the PC operate. So this is what the system bus plate we are talking about. It is going to be give the opportunity to the CPU or to the other components so that how speed with how much speed they are going to be moved from one place to the another place. So this the system bus speed we are talking about. This is the system crystal we are talking about. It's nothing but it is a quartz oscillator, and it is similar to that the wrist watch that the watch we are actually using. So that the oscillator we have also seen this. I said you when you are identifying the different components in the computer system, we are going to be have the 2 capsules on each and every motherboard. You will be able to find them. So this is that the capsules like component is nothing but the oscillator. So that the oscillator is actually sends out an electrical pulse and a certain speed, in fact many millions of times per second. So it is actually creating some vibrations like that, the frequencies like the vibrations like that. So this signal goes first to a clock chip and that adjusts the pulse, okay, usually increasing the pulse sent by the crystal. So that is what the oscillators we are having, that is actually going to be used for making some vibration, and with that the clock it is going to be controlled at the system bus speed. So as long as the PC is turned on, the quartz oscillator through the clock chip fires a charge on the clock, and going to work on how fast the CPU is going to be work on. So that is what it's saying system. It must be sure that the crystal clock chip send out the correct clock pulse for the particular CPU. So this is what I mean. What it is trying to mean is that actually these days maybe it is not there that, but when we had the single processor, that means we had a single uniprocessor that we call actually. When we had a uniprocessor, that means single core inside of the microprocessor. On that time, we had an option into the BIOS that we could make the clock speed double. So if you're making the clock speed double, CPU can actually work. CPU can actually work that the speed it has more than that. Okay, so that is what I mean. There is a portion was there, but it was not actually good idea to make that the clock speed double and make the CPU much more. I mean, much more give the CPU much more energy to work with, because it's quite risky thing. So this is what why it is risky thing, because if you're trying to make that the CPU the double rate, with the rate that he can work, if he can solve 1,000 problem in a second, then if you're making him to work for the 2000 problem at a time, then definitely, I mean, it is going to be more complex and it is going to be dangerous that your CPU can actually burn, your CPU can actually crush, your CPU can be damaged. So this is what it is trying to tell to you, that if you are upgrading your CPU, you should have to look after into the BIOS, and you should have to be checked first that with the CPU you'll be able to check that how much clock speed it is actually going to be able to work with. So based on that, the CPU clock speed, you need to be actually set out your clock pulse. Otherwise, it may happen that your CPU is going to be burned. So that is what actually one of the most important point we have seen here. So this is the table I have created here. That is going to be show you the different bus lines that we are having into computer system, and with the different throughput. So what is the throughput here is? Throughput is nothing. It's simply think that if I am sending you 100 messages, so out of 100 messages, if you are receiving 100 messages, that means it is going to be the 100% throughput. If it is I'm sending the 100 messages, if you're receiving 90 messages out of 100, that means 90% is throughput. So that is what actually it is trying to show you. This is actually the different bus lines, and this is actually the data path in bits. So here the bus lines we are having, that is the system bus, PCI Express version 2, PCI Express version 1.1, PCI Express 1, PCI X, PCI, AGP, Firewire, and then the USB. Okay, so that the different bus lines we are having that have that are using for the different purposes. It can be for local purposes. Most of the cases it can be for local purposes, and it can be also for that the expansion purposes. So this is the USB that you have the different versions like that 1.1, 2, 3. So if you are having into your laptop or desktop that a USB drive with that the 3.0, then it is going to be much more faster. I mean, than that the previous versions, that the 1.1 and 2.0, because of that the bus line is much faster for that the USB 3.0. So this is what the bus type it is talking about. So it is the bus type we are having, which bus are having for which how much bits or how much lanes are there to reach to the other components from these buses from one point to the another point. So that is the list here, that the 64 bit is there, then serial with up to 32 lanes, serial with up to 16 lanes for that the PCI Express version 1.1. So for each of them there are going to be have the bus type. So and also address lines are there. It is also showing for that, okay, the how many address lines are there for each of the buses we are having. So this is showing the 32 or 64 or maybe the up to 32 up to 16. So it is actually relevant to that the bus type and the address line is going to be a bit relevant with each other. And the bus frequencies are there. The frequency is measuring that how much speed of these buses we are having here, that how much speed is going to be there. Like that for system bus, it is 1600 megahertz pace. PCI Express version 2, that is 2.5 gigahertz, and so on. So if you're looking to the throughput, so this is going to be tell you that, okay, how much speed with how much speed that the throughput can be produced for by using these buses. So it can be seen that system bus is up to that the 3.2 2 gigabyte second. For USB, you can see that it is 12 or 480 Mbps megabits per second, or up to 5.0 Gbps. That means gigabits per second. So that means you can understand that if you're using that the USB 3, that means you are going to be get this this much of throughput. I mean, highest to the 5 Gbps throughput. So for each of the buses throughputs you can see here. So this table I have prepared to only for understanding that, okay, what are going to be the difference between the different buses, and what is going to be their speed, and what is going to be their throughput. Here we are coming with the discussions of firmware. So we have already said into our lecture 1, the firmware is nothing but it's a combination of software and hardware. So it is telling that firmware refers to software instructions usually stored on the ROM chips. So that is that the my software part, the software instructions, and that is my hardware part, that the ROM chips we are talking about. So this is the combination of that the software and hardware is actually firmware. So that the different firmwares are actually there onto our computer system, like the video adapter, hard drive, network adapter. So this firmware are going to be given. So that the same example you can take, that the more instructions that is going to be there for a component, that okay, how I'm going to be deal with the different commands, that the more better way these devices are going to be work. So that the firmwares are there, so that the instructions you're giving to the chips in advance, so that means these chips with these instructions are going to be give you the better performance in case of these devices that you are having. You are having the firmware, that firmware actually will increase the performance of those devices. So these instructions are always available. Resulting reprogram is not required every time the computer is started. If you could not have this firmware into your computer system, then every time you are turning on your computer, you could have installed so many things to use the computer system. So because of the ROM chips are there, because of the different firmwares are there, that's why you do not need to install the programs, that actually you do not need to install the drivers for the different devices every time into your computer system. So this is one of the BIOS that we have going to be have a detailed discussion like experiment number 3, BIOS and CMOS. But let's see what the BIOS is. The BIOS in term that stands for the basic input output system, the full form of the BIOS, and it consists of the low level software that controls the system hardware and acts as an interface between the operating system and the hardware. So this is what we have already learned, that we in our computer system we are having a BIOS. Okay, so that the BIOS that we are having, actually maybe not all of us actually really know. We have not maybe entered into our computer BIOS yet. So when you're starting up the computer system, there are some special keys for the for different computers, like F2, like enter, like not enter, F2, like delete, like F10. So these are the keys. I mean, if you're pressing while you're starting up the computer, then you can actually enter into the BIOS or CMOS setup. So this is the low level of software, and that is actually storing the information for starting up your computer system. So this is this is what actually it is control that your system hardware, means that it is actually keeping the informations of your computer hardware, that what are the components actually you are having into your computer system, as well as that is actually done. I mean, when you start up the computer system, then actually it is going to be checked that with the post that we have studied, the power on self test. So that is going to be actually is going to be work with that power on self test, and when the power on self test is going to be passed, then on that time that the BIOS is going to be making interactions between the operating system and the computer hardware, so that your computer can be start up. So here we are having the BIOS is not only responsible for informing that the processor that the devices are present on request, but also for providing needed instructions to communicate with them. Whenever the processor makes a request of a component, the BIOS steps in and translates the request into instructions that the component can be understand. So this is what this is telling, that I mean the BIOS, if the processor wants to communicate with a component, say that the processor want to reach to the printer, or say that the processor want to reach to the speaker. So how it is going to be do? So that is actually going to be done with the help of the BIOS. So the BIOS is not only telling that where is the location of the device the processor is looking for, but it also giving that the instructions that okay, how to communicate with that the specific device the processor is looking for to meet with. So that is what actually it is trying to tell here. And here it is telling that a system can be described as a series of layers, some with some hardware layers, some software layers, and that interface with each other. In most of the cases, a PC down into 4 primary levels, each of which can be broken down further into subsets. So you can see here that we are seeing here the two systems. This is the system A, and this is the system B. So if you're compare, these two systems are organized with the 3 layers, like non-standard interface, standard interface, and standard application interface. So can you see any difference between these two systems? Can you see any difference between these two systems? Look carefully.
So last two are almost same, but
Yeah, not only the last one, that the middle one is
Yes,
also
sir.
same,
Last
right?
two. Yes, sir.
Only that this one
First
is
one
actually
is not
changed.
same, sir. First one is
Yeah,
different. I think
first
so.
one is the different. Only the harder part is different. So that you can say that in this system, what is the difference actually? That let me explain. So in this system, maybe you're having a CPU that is an older one. So say that, I mean, that is the dual processor, Intel dual processor, and say that this is that the processor you are having, that is the Core i7, the quad processor. So definitely that the processor is going to be powerful in this PC. So you are having said that into this you are having said that the DDR RAM. You can say that in this PC you are having that the DDR3 RAM. So the RAM is also powerful. You are having here the 50 GB hard disk. Maybe you are having here the 2 TB hard disk. So that the storing this is also based according to that. It may be have the CD-ROM drive, and it has the DVD-ROM drive. So that is one the latest one. So definitely, if we are trying to tell that okay, the system A is that the less powerful than the system B system, so it does not matter. Look that both of them, both of the system are going to be have that the ROM BIOS, and both of the systems are going to be able to use the latest operating system, and the both the system are going to be able to run that the application program. So that is it is trying to tell to you that I mean the system specification can be different. A system can be powerful than the other system, but the working procedure that is going to be same. That is going to be same for both of the PC. You understand that? So this is what here it is telling the two machines with the different processor, storage media, video display units, and so on can run on the same operating system and applications. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here it is trying to tell you now that what is the difference between the BIOS and CMOS. So yes, we say the BIOS is a special firmware stored into that in a chip on the computer motherboard. So it is the first program that runs every time when the computer turn on. So that already we have explained before. This is also we say that it is going to be performed when you are turning on the computer system. It performs the post which initialize and tells the computer hardware that everything is going to be fine or not. If it is fine, then it is going to be look for the boot up bootable file that computer is going to be boot up, and it is going to be make the communications with the operating system directly. So that means your computer is going to be start up. So it also provides a simple interface for confirming computer hardware. So this is what actually we are trying to tell here. That I mean I have already explained that there are some special case with that actually you'll be able to able to enter into that the BIOS, and you're going to be actually change the configuration interface over there. So when the changes made to the BIOS configuration, the settings are stored on the CMOS. So look that now we have found that what is the CMOS is. The CMOS is actually complementary metal oxide semiconductor. It's nothing but you can consider it as a RAM. It's a memory. Okay, so that the BIOS settings actually you are going to be have, that is going to be placed on that the CMOS. That is going to be stored into the CMOS. So that the CMOS is itself a RAM. So here actually that the things are going to be stored. Okay, so that the BIOS is going to be stored into that the CMOS, and that's why if you're entering into that the BIOS with the F2 and the special case, then you'll be see that some BIOS it is showing that CMOS setup. Okay, so here that the even though it is the RAM, the CMOS is a RAM, but we call it NVRAM. That means non-volatile RAM. So we know that the RAM is the volatile memory. So if your active data is going to be not be for the long time, temporary data is going to be stored. So this RAM we call the NVRAM, even though it is a RAM, random access memory, but we call it not volatile RAM. So what does it mean? It means that we know that we are using a battery with that CMOS battery into our motherboard. We know that there is a battery we are having. So as because the battery is continuously giving the power to the CMOS. So as because that I mean if you are turning off the computer system, then this is the source. This is the power source for the CMOS. So that is make that the RAM to that the NVRAM. So the data is going to be written into the CMOS. Actually, that is not going to be that is not going to be erased because of this battery, because you are continuously this battery is going to be give the power when the power is not going to be available in the computer system. So this is why it is called the NVRAM, and that the BIOS settings actually we are storing into that the CMOS. CMOS. So it is the name of the manufacturing process used to create processors, RAM, and digital logical circuits, and so on. Okay, anyway, so it holds a very small amount of information like 256 bytes for your computer system to start up, and the real-time information like the date, time, year, that actually is there. It's running because of this, that the CMOS battery when your computer is turned off. So it is integrated with the real-time clock on South Bridge in the motherboards. So this is what it is telling. The BIOS memory is non-volatile. Computer needs to remember its BIOS settings even when it's turned off. Therefore, CMOS has its own dedicated power source and CMOS battery. So it is telling here that, I mean, even though that the CMOS is non-volatile, but we need to be keep that instructions safe onto that CMOS, and therefore we are using a battery that is actually continuously giving that battery the CMOS, the continuously power it is actually providing, so that the information actually kept stored there. So this is what a brief discussions for BIOS and CMOS. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now here we are talking about the motherboard connectors. We have already discussed it actually. All of the components of the computer directly or indirectly connect to the motherboard, and some are built in. That already we have said it, that the motherboard is a computer heart. So all the components directly or indirectly, it is going to be connected to the motherboard. But here we are talking about the connectors actually. So the connections can be given in the following ways, that there are three ways you can see: the onboard connection, internal connection, and external connection. So we have already learned that the onboard connection, in this connection component is fixed onto the board using slot or sockets on motherboard. For example, the processor. Can you please tell me that where the processor is going to be installed? On the motherboard, the processor is going to be installed where? In which location that we are going to install our CPU processor? No idea? We have already discussed about it many times. Maybe today also we have discussed that. I mean, this is the CPU
Processor
socket.
socket, sir.
Right, processor socket, that actually where we are going to be install the processor. We have actually discussed it many times in the class. Okay, then here, how about that the RAM? Where we are going to install the RAM? How about the RAM?
PCI
The RAM slot.
RAM slot, not PCI. RAM slot. There is the dedicated slot for RAM, right? And how about the network card? Network card, LAN card. That is on the PCI slot. Yes, right. How about the AGP?
PCI Express.
PCI Express, right? 16, 32, or 64 slot is going to be there dedicated for AGP card, the graphics card. The internal connection components inside the system case connects to motherboard using the connectors. So there are different connectors like for the optical devices like hard disk or the CD, DVD, ROM. So in this case, actually what is happened that we are having that the SATA connector. So we are using a SATA cable. One part of the cable is going to be installed into the SATA connector, and the other part is going to be connected with the hard disk. With the another SATA connector, that cable is going to be used, and that is going to be connected the DVD with the cable, the SATA cable. The discussion is coming a bit detailed. The external connection is that the components external to the system case are connected through the back. So this is actually, we are talking about inside of the system, and this is talking about outside of the system. Internal connection, external connection. So we understand that this is actually the back panel and front panel. So we can understand that the keyboard, mouse, speakers, this actually we are connecting with the computer system from the outside of the system unit. So there are actually there are different connectors are there, the ports are there that actually we are using for connecting the external devices. So we are going to be said So this is that motherboard connectors, a layout, typical motherboard connector is showing into the motherboard. So we have already learned that this is our CPU socket, processor socket, where we are going to be installed at the processor. There is the cache fan. I mean, the case fan is going to be there for giving the power to the case fan. We are having that the connector here, cache fan connector, and the CPU fan header, and also that we are having these memory slots. It slots memory slots, and then we are having here that the floppy disk these days we are not having. This is our main power source that have from the power supply. The main power source is going to be given, and here we are having the different IDE connectors. Actually, this connector in the previous maybe before we used to use this type of connectors. There is a this is actually called ATA, parallel ATA also it is called. So the PATA cable was there, and with the cable, one part of the cable is to be connected here, and another part of the cable with that actually could connect the hard disk or DVD ROM. And here you are having the SATA 8 you can connect. That is actually the for connecting the more hard disk or advanced technology. You are having the you are having that the back panel connectors, different back panel connectors. You are having here that the PCI Express slot X1, PCI E X1, PCI E X1, PCIe X11, PCIe X12, and you are having here the PCI Express X16 or 32 or 64-bit slots dedicated for graphics card, and then you are having the normal PCI slots where actually you can install the sound card, LAN card, and so on. So that the different here it comes the different connectors. These connectors are based on the different type of motherboards, and here we are having some headers like for audio or CD in headers can be there, or maybe that the serial com header is going to be there. There are some USB drive headers with that actually the USB front panel headers like the lights I said, that start button, reset button, the LED lights are going to be give the connection. We are having the game port header. So the different connectors can be there here for connecting the different devices. So if we're looking to that, the in motherboard, this slot is used to fix an adapter card into it. So we have already learned it. So you can see here that the different type of the PCI slot. So PCI means here the peripheral component interconnect. The PCI is a bus to connect the expansion cards like network card, modem card, and video card. So that is what actually this is the cards. Your the speed of this PCI slot we are talking about here. So day by day, actually, it is increasing. So you can see that it was 133 megabyte. Later on, it is for 32-bit PC, and later on that for the 266 megabyte for the 64-bit PC, and for later on the 532 megabytes 64-bit PC with the 66 megahertz speed. So this is what I mean. The day by day, that actually the improvement is going on, and the bus width and bus speed is actually increasing tremendously. So this is what later on that Express one. So this is the nothing but it is actually much more advanced external devices like PCIe X1, X4, X8, X16. So this is what I mean. It is improvement is going on. So you can actually will be able to connect that the high performance external card onto these slots, so that performance is going to be much more better when it is coming from top to bottom. So 32 is much more better, 64 is much more better. So the PCI Express PCIe, this slot is as PCI, but with numerous improvements such as maximum maximum system bus throughput, high speed, and low pin count. So this is what actually it is trying to tell, that how this is going to be better than the normal PCI slots. So I have given a table here to show you that the transfer rate, then you'll be see that the speeds are actually increases tremendously. Okay, so that I mean we are now having that the recent PCI Express 32 and 64. So we can see that 8,000 is highest, 8,000 megabit speed. With that speed, actually, that the data is going to be able to transferable from one component to that another. So yeah, there are different cards you're having. The for that the PCIe X 16, 32 or 64. This is actually showing the AGP slot. So we are not telling it AGP anymore. That we are telling the PCIe Express 16, 32, 64. So there are different cards are coming with that development. I mean, we are getting that the more high resolution pieces. So this is what actually uh, that we are telling. We are telling that I mean this is the card we are having. The different cards are having the different capabilities, so different performance. So this is that the place you can see here that we are having that the golden plate. So these pins are going to be actually by following these pins we are going to be install our AGP cards into the AGP slots. So that is what I mean indicating that I mean you will not be able to simply buy a graphics card and you'll be able to install it into your motherboard. So you should have to know that what is the motherboard version, and you should have to know that actually your PCI EX it is 16 or 32 or 64. So if you're telling actually the motherboard model into that the computer store, then they'll be able to give you that appropriate video card, external video card that for you'll be able to install. So if you're looking, you have different devices of your computer system. So here, this one was the most common one, that the 4-pin Molex connector. So this Molex connector we are used before for connecting the hard disk, for giving that the power to the hard disk. So you should need to be a clear idea that about this is that the connectors you are giving to that the hard disk, that the Molex 4-pin connector you used to connect. So on that time we are going to be used that the so that is actually used to be connected into this type of connectors. So it may come to your mind the questions that okay, one cable I'm connecting from here on to the hard disk, and also one cable we are connecting from here onto the hard disk. So why we are actually connecting the two cables? Remember that this is the cable you are connecting with the hard disk or the DVD-ROM for supplying the power, and that the cable you have used the SATA cable or PATA cable, that the cable is for transferring the data. So we should have to be understand that. I mean, one is for transferring the power, one is for transferring the data. So this is what actually these days we are not using this 4-pin Molex connector. These days actually everything is using this SATA connectors for giving the power to the hard disk and DVD. Actually all that the DVD player, hard disk, these are actually these days coming with the SATA connectors. So that is why the reason behind it that we are actually using the SATA power connector as well. So whatever that your hard disk has, if your hard disk has the Molex power pin, so you'll be able to connect that to this Molex pin, and your hard disk has that the IDE connector, then you will be able to use that the PATA connector over there. So something like that. And this is that the 20-pin ATX power connector, and 4 connectors will come with that 24-pin. It can be that separate, the 4 connectors are going to be there. So because some motherboards are having the 20 pins and power connectors, some motherboards are having that the 26. So usually that if your motherboard is that a mini motherboard, then you're going to have the 20-pin power. If you're having that the ATX standard board, then it is going to be the 24-pin power connector. So these the 24-pin power connectors you're connecting with your computer system. That is actually giving the main power source to the motherboard. So motherboard is all the components are going to be get that the power supply from this power connector. Okay, from the power supply to that your motherboard. So we are going to be connected actually this power connector. We are going to be connected here on. That is our place to actually connect that the power. That is the place for that the BTX motherboard. This is for ATX. So where actually that is going to be the main power source for the motherboard. And then we are having here that you call it the P4. So it is for giving the extra 12 volt power to the process. So here I'm having that the 4-pin power connectors, right? So all the motherboards are going to be looked at. Here we are having 6. So actually, even though you are at over here, so this is what actually I mean that the this 4-pin power connector is going to need to be connected to give the extra 12 volt power to that your processor. That is what actually this 4-pin connector is there. And there is another connector that auxiliary used for the different purposes. Actually, it can be used like that. The auxiliary current, it can be given for giving the power to that the floppy drive. For the floppy drive, actually, as I can remember, but it is not the 6-pin auxiliary. I think that is going to be the 4 auxiliary or connector. I mean this operating using. So this is the auxiliary connector. Actually, connector was important for the 4-pin drive. I think that was the 4-pin, but this 6-pin actually can be used for the different purposes. And this is the main connector. The connector is going to be used for connecting that the hard disk and that the DVD drive. So as because all the devices are coming into the market with this technology. So this is that all of the connectors, you should have to recognize them, and you should have to know the name of them, and you should have to know that actually what is this, what are the uses of these connectors. This is a very important factor for you to know. Now here it is talking about the PATA, that SATA that we are talking about, the parallel ATA and parallel serial ATA. So that here that the PATA is actually going to have the 20-pin connectors. A ribbon cable connects the SDD and CDD to the interface. So this is actually you're having a PATA connector here, that is the 40-pin connectors we call. So connectors, so that the cable are having that the 2 connectors. This is one connector, and the cable is moving on, and there is the another connector. So this connector can be used for connecting one device like hard disk, and this connector can be for the connecting the DVD. So that is what actually, and also more than that connector, some cables can have that 3 for actually connecting the optical devices. So one part of the cable is going to be connected here, and the rest of the part is going to be used for connecting the different devices. But later on that the SATA technology comes, and with that actually the ribbon, SATA ribbon, the cable is actually very slim. And you can see that these are the SATA connectors, the sky blue color, five SATA connectors are there. So on that with that the SATA connectors, we are using a slim cable, and actually that is the advanced technology. So it is able to transfer the most data compared with that, much more data compared with that this cable. So this is the technology, actually recent technology that we're using. But here with the one cable you'll be able to connect only one device. So if you are having the hard disk for hard disk 1, for DVD 1, if you are having the more hard disk, that is the one. So you are having the different SATA connectors here. So but with that the PATA, we used to connect the several devices with the one cable. So this is the back panel connectors that we are having here. Yes, I mean in the desktop motherboard or laptop, not laptop, desktop motherboard, actually you'll be able to see in the back side of the system case, you are having the different connectors. So most of the time, I mean, we do not know actually that what are the connectors are there. So you should have to need to know that actually what are the connectors are there, and what are the reason actually they are there, what is the actually use of them. So you should have to know them. So you can see that we are showing that 2 different one the motherboard, and the same one actually into a layout format. Okay, this is the real one with the system, and it is actually with that the real layout. It says that the layout actually created. Just a moment, I got a call. Hello. Yeah, walaikum assalam. Actually, I'm having a class. Can you start at 8:15? 8:15? Is it okay? Okay. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, that I mean the layout we are getting here. So in that the layout you'll be able to see here that I mean we are having that the PS2. The PS2 connectors are there. That is for mouse and keyboard. Sometimes I mean you'll be see that it is drawn here that a keyboard sign, mouse sign and the keyboard sign. So this is what here that what we are having. So and these days actually we do not have at least maybe one PC to one port you'll be able to see. Actually they kept it for just I mean showing you that the previous time actually which type of connector you used to be for connecting that the keyboard and mouse. These days actually all we depend on that the USB ports that for connecting that the mouse and keyboard. So now here that you can see that we are having USB port 2 to 4 USB ports are there, and this is that the HDMI port, that is that the maybe the high definition media interface port. So this is the port actually is used for media for entertainment purposes. We have seen that one of the system device that is actually media center. So the different actually media I mean, can be connected like the DVD, like that the DVD player you are having. That these days the DVD player has having that the HDMI port. So with the HDMI cable you will be able to connect that. So that is actually the faster, to delivering the data from that one component to that another component. So you're having that here, that the VGA port, that is actually the monitor port. So when you're connecting your monitor with that your system, on that time you should have to follow. Look, that here is not this is the female port, so that there is a one pole is missing. So when you're connecting, on that time you should have to match this actually that the male port with the female port for connecting. So this is what actually that VGA port we are kind of using for the connecting that the monitor, and this is actually DVI port. So this is that the port is actually also used for connecting that the monitors. Actually, you may know that I mean with the computer system you'll be able to use the two monitors. Actually, it's possible that in our country we do not use, but in abroad maybe last 10 years, last 15 years they are using that in office the two monitors with the single computer system. So yes, I mean this is going to be used also for connecting that your project or the DVI. So it depends on that actually which port your monitor has or which port your projector has. Based on that actually you'll be able to use into that your system. So this is here we are having the LAN. This is for the LAN port. So you know that there is going to be the internet connection you have being in your home, that you know that there is a connector on the cable that is known as the RJ45 connector. So that connector is going to be actually fit on this LAN port, so that actually your computer can connect it with the internet. And this is the two ports you're having, that is also for the USB purposes. And then you are having that these are the input output for your audio, right? One is for maybe microphone, one is for maybe output, one is for maybe for using that some headphone, or maybe that I mean there are some other ports like RS out, RS in, CS out, RS out, line in, line out. So microphone, SS out. So that each of the port is actually for using some musical. I mean, if you are having the offer, or maybe that if you are having that the better sound system, you may need to use all of these ports for getting that the better performance from the speaker. So this is what this is actually showing here, and actually you can get some of that the information. So you should have to know that each of these port or connector names, and with that also you should have to know that actually what is the use of each of the port or each of the connections you are having. So I have already explained them, so you can read by yourself. So this is number 2 and February. In the next class we are going to be talking about the BIOS and CMOS, and the next class actually we do not have class. So 28 we are going to have a class test. for the lab purposes. So syllabus is going to be the experiment number 1 and experiment number 2. As well as we are going to be have that the our exam that is most probably first term examination most probably going to be held on that 20. We are going to be have our first term examination, and our syllabus is going to be here the lecture 1 that we are doing into the theory, and here the lecture 2, this one actually, that these two things we are going to be study for our first term examination. So this file has already I mean I have shared into your Facebook group. Maybe there is a supporting I think there is no support. I'll check that maybe there is a supporting notes also there. So if it is there, then I'm going to be also upload that into the Facebook group. So this is the we have finished that the lecture number 2, and if you have any questions now you can ask. Okay, so if you have, because exam is coming and you should have to study, I mean without to study, I mean it is going to be very difficult to give that the exams for that being data for then you can get 100 out of 100. There's a first term examination, and first term examination score and the midterm examination scores are much more important than the final part, I feel. Okay, so study hard and thank you very much. Take off you.
Sir, attendance.
Yeah, attendance we have counted in the morning.